Good morning, everyone. It's Pastor Nate Freeman here, and I just want to come by and encourage you. This is my podcast called The Overcomer's Edge, and the whole purpose of this is I want to share with you the things that worked for me in the midst of my journey through whether it was kidney failure, blindness, diabetes. Uh, you know, there were times I was broke. Whatever the situation is, how God brought me through those situations. And the whole thing behind this is can be found in the book of Romans chapter 8, verse 37. And it should be scrolling here on the bottom of your screen as I pull this up here. Give me just a second to pull the scripture up for you. Yeah, the scripture should be rolling on the bottom of the screen there as well. So, so it says, yet in all these things, we are what? More than overcomers. So in order to become an overcomer, no matter what Satan throws our way, no matter what mistakes we've made in our own lives that caused the issues that we may be facing, no matter what it is that is going on, in order to become more than an overcomer, we first have to overcome. And so what we do in these situations is these are the tools and the keys that I'm going to give you, the things that I've learned how to overcome those situations. So, and how I become more than an overcomer is by sharing those things with people who may be facing like situations, or maybe someone that's facing like situations. So the way this all works is that we're God is continuously through scripture, through the living epistles of his people living on the earth, sharing the good news of what Jesus Christ has done. And so for me, I really believe I want to leave you with this nugget this morning, and we'll be picking the conversations back up starting next week. I have some special guests lined up for the beginning of the year. It's going to be some awesome things that'll be taking place here. But the thing I want to leave you with today is when you are in the middle of your storm, when you're in that time of darkness, that time of the pain is unbearable. And if you're following me on any social media, I wrote a post there. You can message me. I should be able to see the chat from Facebook if you're on Facebook today, but this is on LinkedIn, X, I don't know, YouTube as well. But whatever social platform you're on, if you have questions, just you can reach me. I am going to give you my phone number at the end, and I also my email address of how you can get a hold of me directly. But the thing that I want you to know is when you're going in that middle of that moment that you're facing that thing that's so deep, what you begin what the enemy wants to do is he wants to isolate you. He wants you to feel and I'm gonna share a personal thing. When I was blind, before I became blind, I was traveling, I was preaching, I saw a lot of people come to the Lord. I think out of 365 nights in a year, I believe I preached about 250 nights. And here I was blind, I saw healings take place, I saw individuals come to know Jesus Christ, it was all wonderful. And here I am blind, and I'm having this conversation with God, and I'm saying, "Lord, I did all these things for you. I'm faithful to what you said do. I'm preaching, I'm doing these things. How can you let this happen to me?" That was my what I said. This is the honest and in that moment, what God began to show me, and he brought a good friend along. Some of us need to check who you're surrounding yourself with. But a good friend of mine who did not allow me to wallow in self pity. Some of us need to cancel the save the date of the self pity party that you have planned. You need to cancel the date, call the caterer, tell them you don't need them, cancel all that. The pity party is over. And I still remember Jack Stepp, who was a United States Marine who served our country, who was shot and left for dead, and how God resurrected him and brought him to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ, was sitting in my living room after I had isolated myself in my bedroom. after being blinded by waking up during the surgery that was meant to save my vision. And he told me these words. He said, "Stop feeling sorry for yourself." And when I began to go to the Lord and seek him in those moments, I started to ask myself, and the Lord, in my time of reflection, did I do all those things for God's glory? You talk about, man, Lord, I gave up this for you. I did this for you. Or was I doing those things for his glory or my own glory? And the answer was, I, my, my whole intent was to do it for his glory. But there was that part of my heart that was being revealed to me that I'm telling God about what I did for him. The whole motivation by anything that I've done for the Lord was because what he's done for me. And so when I began to look around, look at my surroundings, I started to look at things with gratitude. And see, we need to get rid of this mindset that God or somebody owes you something. He doesn't owe us anything. So when we begin to look, I began to be thankful for the things that were around me. I began to look and the relationships, the people, the all of the things I had in my possession still, even though in that moment I did not have my sight. Because what I began to realize is that I was starting to sound more like Satan. What isn't that what Lucifer said when he was in heaven and he got cast out of heaven? He was like, I'm gonna be like the most high. I. And when we begin to say to God in our personal time of prayer, less of me, but more of you, and we begin to look and be grateful of the things that we have in our life. And I was reminded of this the other day. I was riding with a good friend of mine, Pastor Tony Folio. And when you're in ministry, there's a lot of different things. And you have to have those relationships. And Tony Folio has been one of those that I have a relationship with. And he said something simply to me about how blessed I was. And it reminded me during this season and during this time. And so I want to just share that with you. Stop looking at what you don't have and start thanking God for the things you do. Stop blaming the people. Stop blaming circumstances and start looking to God because that's where your help comes from. And when I started thanking God for my surroundings and the blessings that He gave to me in my life, you want to know what? That next week, even though I was blind and told by a medical doctor that I would never see again, I started to see. I started to read I started to see a little bit of the things that I was writing on my paper. Next thing you know, I was reading words, then I was reading sentences. Then I sat, Dr. Harold is my witness. He was my um, Christian moral principles professor at Franciscan University. I went in there and sat in his office because I had to take my test orally. He would read the test questions. I would give him the answers. That's how I got graded. And I went into his office and I said, I want to take this thing written. And he looked at me and I said, yes, I want to take it written. I sat down, took that written test. And in that moment, he said, he started calling me the miracle man. But see, I'm not the miracle man. I'm the one who God did the miracle through and did it for. And I want you to know that you are for a sign and wonder today. I know you might be struggling. I know it may be hard. I have empathy for you, but I want to tell you this. You are more than a conqueror through Jesus Christ. Hey, be encouraged today. Don't let the devil keep you isolated. Lean on those relationships of the people that are going to speak life into your situation, not join you in your pity party. And let's celebrate the life that God has given us. The reason why you're still alive right now is that God still has a reason for you to be alive and to fulfill a purpose for Him. So spread His love today. God bless you. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. But have a great, wonderful weekend. Find a church to get into on Sunday. Be connected to the body of Christ. And we'll see you guys.
Thank you for joining us on the Overcomer's Edge. We're so grateful you took the time to tune in and be part of this empowering journey. If today's episode encouraged you or gave you a new perspective, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. It helps us reach even more people with a message of hope and victory. And if you'd like to connect with Nate Freeman for speaking engagements or consultations, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach me directly at 740-512-3714 or email me at nate@asknatefreeman.com.